네, 안녕하세요. 여러분의 협력자 엘라의 고아라입니다. 지금 저희는 여기에서 가이아-X, 그 중에서도 차와 관련된 카테나-X 현장에 나와 있습니다. 여기서 전문가분을 만났는데요. 한번 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Eric.
Oh yeah, nice to meet you, Eric. So would you explain us about what's Catena-X about?
So Catena-X in general is a data ecosystem specifically for the automotive industry. It consists of three main pillars. One is the association. The association defines the data exchange standards. So like what needs to be done in terms of technical architecture, but of course also the topic of semantics is very important so that everybody in the value chain talks about the same stuff and is using the same language at the end. The second pillar is an open source community which is developing applications for multiple use cases like sustainability, traceability, quality of course, and so on and so forth. And the third pillar, and this is what we are, Cofinity-X, we are an operating company, so we are operating this ecosystem. We are making sure that all involved companies can exchange data in this peer-to-peer data network.
Wow, it sounds amazing. Especially in this era, like cooperation is not really like it has to be done. But at the same time, I guess that there are some companies who are afraid of like sharing the data. And then maybe would you explain about how it can be working?
I mean, as I already mentioned, it's a peer-to-peer data network, so nobody is able to view the data or even manage the data except the companies who's sharing this with the, let's say, data consumer, right? So you keep the ownership of your data. You simply just decide and contract with the recipient, with the consumer. So this is what you do already today, but in future, Catena-X and Cofinity-X enabling to exchange this data across the value chain because we have so many participants in the network already. And of course, it's just a start. It's growing, and the more participants, the more companies are joining, the more value will be created at the end.
Wow, sure thing. How exciting. And is there any maybe examples that happen between also somehow like competitors?
Yeah, I think, for example, I mean, also the second tier and third tier suppliers in the automotive industry, they are, of course, in a lot of cases, they are competitors but also customers, right? I mean, we have a couple of companies also in the network already who for some businesses are competitors, but in some other areas they are, partners, suppliers, and customers. So they are already working together. For example, electric vehicle topic, so for battery production, but then of course, at the end, of course, also for battery recycling. So here we already have established value chains showing that this data exchange works and that companies don't need to worry about losing access and losing ownership of their data.
Wow, I'm really glad to hear about that because, in Korea there are many EV battery companies and then some, especially for recycling, then the data has to be really shared. But then this company is like, wow, so with these recycle processes, we don't know, we are lost. We don't know how to get this data. So if there is one company who want to involve, then what's the process it's going to be?
I mean, the process is quite simple. You simply just need to register to the Catena-X or Cofinity-X marketplace, see what kind of applications are on there, and get part of the network, basically. Everybody can be invited. At the moment, it's an invite-only network. So for example, we started with, of course, the big OEMs here from Europe, inviting their suppliers, and that will lead to a situation that this network is, I mean, it's growing, it's further creating additional value, and there are no loose ends, right? So, I mean, if we would now just register as a single company, there would be the possibility that you sit somewhere in the value chain, but you are not connected to anybody being part of the network already. But due to this invite only, I mean, this situation is always quite clear that it's really, really beneficial for the companies and for the network itself that new companies are participating.
Oh, I see. Then the question came up that what would be the qualification for that getting invitation?
I mean, that's simply getting an invitation is just check who is part of the network. I mean, we can see it also over there. There are more than 120, nearly 130 companies already part of the network. if you as a company are one of their suppliers or customers, get in touch with them, get registered, and that's it.
Oh, okay. And then so after they participating, and if they want to get some data, is there any like a platform that they can somehow like share that, oh, we need this data to find a partners and to get a certain region? How does it work?
Yeah. At the end, also, and this is also what's part of the Cofinity-X offer, is we call it the digital twin registry. So every asset which is being tracked in the network gets a digital twin. And this digital twin registry, it's like a telephone book, right? Every company can access it, can see, okay, what kind of data is being shared, by which company, etc. But not the data itself, of course. This is, I mean, what, like I said, stays in the ownership of the company itself. It's just, let's say, really the semantics on the data, which is being visible to the whole network.
Oh, amazing. So Catena-X and then Cofinity-X is doing a great thing to offer kind of the stage that people can meet together.
Exactly.
But then like how about your organization is running? Because of course like you are making a stage, you're making a stage for the older like partners, and then what about like your model to run?
Our business, I mean, we are also offering applications on that marketplace, so traceability applications which are developed open source, but of course, yeah, which we enable or which we establish for the network, and that's basically how we operate at the end. So we are operating the network with certain digital services, but of course also business applications for the mentioned use cases.
Okay, then I guess there will be many companies who are interested to become a member. Then is there membership differences or like all same?
All same. It's always, I mean, that's also one of the principles. It's equal footage, right? Otherwise, a smaller supplier could also could hesitate a bit, being compared now with the big OEMs and so on and so forth. No, everybody has the same stage in the net.
Oh, okay. Oh, sounds amazing. So here in Hannover Messe, I think you have been developing the organization year by year. And there was a really like special thing about this year. And is there some goals that you want to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, what we can see this year, the first time, is that the Catena-X network is really live with Cofinity-X. So far, it was always a very theoretical topic, so to define the data space and so on. Cofinity-X got founded end of January this year. So now this network really also is live and also shows the value really at hand. The first value chains, the first data chains are already established, and this is, I think, the big step forward compared to last year.
Wow, indeed. So in my understanding, so here's a Gaia-X, Catena-X, and there's a Cofinity-X.
It's an operating company for the Catena-X network.
It's an operating company based here in Germany. And which region, if I can ask?
We are based in Cologne.
Wow, so nice talking to you. And then maybe is there like a word that you want to convey to the like people who are watching in this automotive industry?
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think a network can just grow if we really have active participants. So everybody who wants to join, get in touch with your suppliers, get in touch with the companies already on the network, participating to the network, and reach out to us. I mean, the bigger the network is, the more value can be created.
What Catena-X is about is that you have some place where you actually know you can register there, you can identify organizations. I am that kind of organization. Mm-hmm. I am allowed to see this and that information. I have this roles. Mm-hmm. And then you support entities in exchanging data one-to-one, so in a one-to-one scenario. So we're not storing some data centrally, but we are supporting them in exchanging the data one-to-one by using this central component called EDC, which is the Eclipse Data Change Connector. And what you do here is, on the one hand, you use it to find your corresponding partner, for example. Mm-hmm. So to say, you have a battery or want to know something about a battery, then you check the network who has information on this battery, who can help me to find out about this material. And then with the applications, you are supported to get information that you want and get the endpoint of some data provider so that you know who can give me data. And then these components are used to actually exchange the data that is required. so that you directly contact them. And important here is that you always can, as data provider, say these kind of companies are allowed to see my data and use my data, and under which conditions are they allowed to use the data. For example, they are just allowed to use them in Asia, for example, or they're just allowed to use them for 5 weeks, or they're just allowed to use them for non-analytic purposes. So that you say, okay, you're allowed to see it, but you don't are allowed to consume 50 batteries and compare them. So as an example.
I see. Yeah. Let's collaborate together.
And join the open data ecosystem.